eye can see, a press of excited youngsters from all over the region are on hand for the return of Elvis Presley.
You know, it's hard to imagine in an era of Lady Gaga, but this man stood on stage, shook his hips, and startled America.
Television.
Press coverage was highly critical. They talked about his threat to the morals of this country and how if this were not stopped, young people would be subjected to all kinds of immoral thoughts and sexual thoughts. Now, the interesting thing about that is, until then he was a regional performer, he had been a truck driver, he was popular in maybe 3 of the 50 states, and then suddenly overnight, you know, you tell America this man is too dirty to be on stage, suddenly everyone looks up and pays attention. The press may have turned him into the king of rock and roll.
What is your opinion of war protesters, and would you today refuse to be drafted?
Honey, I just want to keep my own personal views about that.
So we've got a lot of rare archival photos of him sparring with the press in press conferences. You know, they often asked Elvis his personal feelings on political issues, and he steered clear of it, which set him apart from his contemporaries like the Beatles. Elvis wanted to make music. He didn't necessarily want to make headlines, and he certainly didn't want to make controversy, as ironic as that is from a man who was very controversial when he came on the scene.
Elvis tries to keep them hidden from public view.
Apparently, if you are the king of rock and roll, you can get into the Oval Office on short notice. And that's what happened that day. There were actually Elvis fans inside the White House who helped make it happen. Elvis walked in, met Nixon, and offered his services to help fight the war on drugs, which obviously has more than a little bit of irony to it.
Well, a couple of the items that's never been on display, the champagne bottle with Priscilla's original signature. I like the fact the ring receipt, that was all interesting to see the cost, and of course there's several items here. Even though I've been to Graceland, there's several items that are interesting.
He was a media sensation whose celebrity was fueled by the press and the power of television. When he died, the story dominated the news.
When Presley died in 1977, a photograph was taken of him in his casket at the morgue. I think it was about $17,000. The National Enquirer paid for that photograph, and it became their biggest selling issue to date. But you know, you talk about celebrity journalism and having no shame. We see a lot of it today. It really began in the Elvis 70s era, and he was the victim of it.
The cover photo of Elvis in his coffin sells a record 6.5 million copies.